right. Oh, we're live, guys. Hey, welcome to Tracklandia. I don't know if for those of you who are just with us listening to that remix, you're welcome. We hope you enjoyed that. It is now 6:19, which is more perfect than 6:08 to start a Tracklandia. And today is May 3rd, like you know, 3 days until the track meet. We are here with Will Leer to talk over Sound Running's main event that's happening this Friday night under the lights. And we're going to preview some of the races for it. So, Will, welcome to the program.
It's just great to be here. I think it's only fitting that when you're going to preview a Sound Running meet, you have some sound issues.
That's true. Yeah, we're working out the kinks right now. For just letting everybody know, we sent a lot of equipment down to LA already. So we're dealing on a bare bones setup here in the garage studio, but happy to be up and running. And talking about these races. Will is a very accomplished miler in his own right, and multiple time Olympic trials finalist, I believe, 351 miler, indoor national champion. And I think that your greatest accolade is that you're the Wanamaker Mile champion, and one of the most prestigious races on the continent. But what do you think about that?
I think that's a fair assessment for sure. I would argue that probably the 2006 NCAA Division III Indoor National Championships may be ever so slightly more important than the Wanamaker Mile, but agree to disagree. It's all about priorities.
Wow. Yeah, well, it's up to you, I suppose. Like you have your own ranking system for your results, but I know that you have a softball game that you need to get to too. You're out here or where you are in Boulder. So let's make this quick. Let's get to it. For those of you who haven't bought a ticket to the main event, go ahead and do so at trackland.com. That's Trackland without the A in land. It's just LND. But tickets are $5.99 and $4 of that goes straight into the prize purse. So go there. Sweeten the pot if you want to. Make it meaningful for the athletes. Give them some incentive to take that win. It's all about the win in this sport. That's what we try and tell people here on Tracklandia that this racing is a game. And you look at all of the different people on the track, all the different racers involved, and each one of them brings a different skill set to the table, and they have their own strategy and their own tactics and their own way that they want to get to the finish line first to take that win, much like you did at the D3 National Championships or the Wanamaker Mile. But you have a keen insight into this thing, being a top-level athlete, and I'd like you to dive into these races and give us your thoughts about who has the best line to take the win in each of these top-billed events. So let's kick it off and start with a few of the first events here, which let's go with the men's 800 real quick. Who's your favorite in that race?
Oof. The men's 800 is a pretty stacked field, but I think that there's a decent smattering of international and national talent. I'd say for me, history is a guide, and Brandon Kidder shows up at Jesse Williams's meets. It's where his PR is from at, I think it was a Sunset Tour last year, 144.99. Kidder's a perennial tactician, whether it's a slow race or a fast race. He's got the strength of a 1,500-meter guy. So if it's fast from the gun, I'd see Kidder sort of hanging back, sort of mid-pack, doing that old classic Nick Simmons move, where move up that either the second or the third 200. And then he's got the strength to bring it home. It's like the 800 is that fun event where it's not about who has the fastest finish, especially in these rabbited races, but who dies the least. And I'm going to give that hand to a strength 800-meter guy any day of the week. I think that, I'm looking at these odds here. I'm looking at these sheets. And I'd say my underdog is Tony Van Dippen at the line because he's going to go out hard. This is a 400-meter guy, Olympic medalist in the 4x4. He's getting out hard. This is going to be one of those people who's going to have to die the absolute least to get his body across the finish line first.
I think, yeah, those are good picks. I like your underdog pick there. And I know Brandon Kidder too. The beasts have a mentality about them. I feel like they have a chip on their shoulder a lot, and because of that, they like to make people hurt in the rough parts of the race. So I'd look for him if the pace starts to lag to push it in that third 200. But I've got to go with Kyle Langford in this one. I think coming off a win at Penn, running 146.11 last weekend, and he wants to get back to that 2017 form there. But yeah, this is going to be a barn burner.
A perennial guy that shows up in 800s. He's got the skill set. He's got the experience. Clearly, if he's still running at this point in his career, after having a couple of down years, he has something either to prove to the people who are talking trash behind his back, or prove to himself. And so I think that's a pretty dangerous combination of motivators going into the early season.
Absolutely. Let's move on down the line here and go with the women's 5,000, which is going to be there's a lot of great competitors in this race. We're going to pull that up on the screen for you to take a look at right here. But it's the Koros women's 5,000 meter race, and I think like we've got Josette Norris in this, Emily Lipari, Whitney Orton Morgan, Lauren Paquette, Maddie Alm, who you know very well, Natasha Rogers. It's just, and Ellie Hennis is in this as well. So it's just a great field here, and you can see the fans already making their picks about who they think is going to take this thing. A lot of people are thinking Josette Norris is going to be the runaway. What are your thoughts, Will?
Well, I'm going to be perfectly honest here. The start list that I got off the website looks a little bit different than this one. I'm going to stick with my original picks here, and I picked two favorites, so forgive me. And I'll narrow it down as I, in real time, talk through why they're my favorites. Allie B, she's a beast, both in form and in function. She runs for the Brooks Beasts. She's coming off some pretty incredible years, and I'd love to see her get back to that form. And so this favorite for me is much more of a want than maybe what the other traditional track fans are going to look for. I love watching her run. She's a beautiful runner. She's strong. And I think if the pace is right, you can see the field hopefully start to string out pretty early on in the race. And I think Allie B is one of those athletes that will commit to that pace. The other one that I love seeing here is Hannah Klein. One of my favorite, when I was training, especially under Ron Warhurst, we always used to train to try and run that early season 5K. And so you're doing all the strength work in the early season, doing all the strength work through the indoor season. But more often than not, some race opportunity would come up and you'd go have to run your primary event, the 1500, rather than get to showcase all that hard work that you did through the winter in the 5K. Clearly, Hannah Klein here, she's got a 15:01 PB. She does have some racing chops, but she's much better known as a 1500 meter runner. I want to see her in this early season strength form go for that sub 15 5K. She's my favorite to take it.
Favorite to take it. Wow. All right. I like that pick. I think one of my favorite athletes in this race too is also Sarah Lancaster. And I love her story, being a basketball player at UT and then coming out and running 4:05 in the 15. And then she ran 15 low too last year at the track meet. I believe it was right around 15:10. So I think look for her because she's just getting used to racing and understanding positioning. And once she gets that, she's been right there late into the race in a lot of races she's been in recently. And I think she just needs to figure out how to ease ahead and take that win in the very end. But somebody else to look at there. So keep an eye on her.
Yeah. I think the underdogs here, I'd love to see Ellie Hennis drop her PB. I think she's 15:18 from a year or two ago. Time for her to step up. She's a pro. It's time to run a professional time.
That thing's got to come down. Yeah, and she can do it too. She's living in Flagstaff, up at altitude now. So yeah, see that we've got a couple fan votes for her already. So that could be a good money pick. All right, let's move it on to the women's 10,000 meters here. The Glucose women's 10,000 meters. So, as you know, we had a hot 10,000 meters on this track, the 10 earlier this year that saw some American and Canadian, I think 4 different national records set, and Elise Cranny just storming out all by herself and running 7,000 meters on her own. What do you think about this field here? Who's your favorite here? And give me your underdog as well.
Well, okay. If you keep scrolling down, I can make sure that my picks are still in alignment with what the start list looks like, especially these early season races. You got people coming and going. Favorite, I mean, I'm not going to hold anything from your viewers here. I was an Under Armour athlete. I work at Under Armour in sports marketing. I got to go with my girl, Wayne Kaladi, on this one. I have some insider knowledge that she has been absolutely smashing it in training. She's super fit. She's looking to showcase all that work from the winter. I think that, the 10K is really going to be sort of that sweet spot for her. And I think she's going to come out and blow it wide open. Underdog picks. Here's underdog pick for me is a dear friend, a woman that I've loved watching her career blossom the last couple of years, but it's been on the roads and not on the track, and that's Emily Durgan. I want to see Durgs come out here and showcase her road abilities on the track. I know they're almost like completely different arenas, the road and the track, but I think if she's putting herself in one of these early season fast 10,000s, she's coming there with something to prove. She wants to get that world championship standard. And she's dangerous. She knows how to push hard from a long way out.
Yeah, and like you said, there's people coming and going all the time, so she's probably a late ad here, but we got time to update the site as we go forward to make sure everybody gets their fan picks in. And I also appreciate you laying all your cards out on the table too, so that everybody understands your biases in this race. But I don't think that it would change your opinion too much, because Wayne Kaladi has to be the heavy favorite in this one.
Also, shout out to the Minnesota girl, Annie Frisbee. She has been having an unbelievable 2022. And, if Durgs isn't on the start list, underdog, Annie Frisbee. Let's go.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I mean, she's got the marathoner strength. So if she's hanging around late in the race, you got to be looking out for her.
All
right, let's head over to
someone paying attention, and you got Annie Frisbee passing you.
That's right. Let's head over to the men's 10,000 meters here. Pacers men's 10,000 meters. And this is an interesting one here. We've got a lot of guys lining up, looking to catch some of that magic that saw Grant Fisher run 26:33, break the American record. Zuhair Talbi is back after his 27:20 win last year, so he's the defending champ. What are your thoughts, Will?
I mean, I feel like last year, it was either last year or 2020, which was the year of Zuhair, and I love watching that guy run. He just ran with so much guts, so much tenacity, always followed the rabbit. And I'm putting my notes here as I was looking through these start lists, like, did Zuhair go from becoming the fan favorite to just the overall favorite? And for my money, I'm putting a dark horse bet as my favorite and underdog on Zuhair.
That's a really good point, because I feel like he's won some big races. He won the 10,000 meters at Portland Track Festival and last year's track meet, but people still they overlook him a lot. I think another guy you have to look at in this race too is Sam Atkin, and I want to see that guy do well, especially from the work that he did in the 10 earlier this year. He deserves a good performance, and I know he's going to want to sink his teeth into something down there at the track formerly known as the Brickyard.
100%. Sam Atkin, unfortunately, was absent from my start list, but if he's on the start list, we're making bets. That's a safe money bet all the way. The guy, when he ran 13:03 this year indoors, the last feather that I will forcefully shove in Zuhair's hat is the 13:36 that he just ran on the roads of Boston. Ever so slightly behind CPT out there. So 13:36 on the roads, nothing to shake your head at. But I can't wait for that matchup. I mean, Zuhair just charges. Sam is probably about 3 to 4 feet taller than Zuhair, so it'll be a great matchup for the ages, maybe even.
Yeah, he's got the height, the reach on him. If you're setting these guys up like boxers against each other, we can do all the measurements. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't come to blows out there, though. All right, let's get going and look at this women's 800 meters here. The Gooder women's 800 meters, and we've had some shakeups here since earlier today. So Sadie Henderson was formerly in this race, and that would have made 3 Atlanta Track Club athletes. But now her teammates Olivia Baker and Allie Wilson are going to have to take up the reins for her. But when she was still in there, I thought to myself, down there, well, Adidas or Atlanta Track Club should hit that sweeten the pot button and dump $1,000 in, because I would say that would be a good lineup to take a sweep here. But New Balance could also do that. I mean, they've got Corey McGee, Lindsay Butterworth, and Ellie Baker in here as well. What are your thoughts on this race, Will?
My money on this, my POV on the sweeten the pot is brands. Put your money where your athletes are. If you got 3 women on the start line of an 800 meters, what odds are pretty dang good. You're not going to find those odds in Vegas. No siree. I think my favorite in this race, it's got to be Allie Wilson. She just took the W in Drake in 2:03. And what I'm hearing was some of the least optimal fast running weather on the continent that day. And as an underdog pick, it's not really an underdog because she's a fantastic runner. But again, I'm privy to some insider knowledge. This woman trains with my wife. I was privy to her a 600 meter time trial that you did the other day. Corey McGee is fit. And, it's her first race of the year. So you never really know how it's going to go. First race of the outdoor season. But that's my underdog pick. So come on, New Balance. Come on, Adidas. Put your money where your athletes are.
Yeah, we've got some insider knowledge here then. Corey McGee, she's fit and ready to go. I think, well, Allie Wilson is the defending champ in this race. And then somebody who also gets overlooked, I believe, down here south of the border is Lindsay Butterworth. And she started the season hot, taking second at Mount Sac, 2 flat to Raven Rogers. And she wins more races down here than a lot of people do. So I would say look at her as well. And she's got 1 vote right now, but we need more Canadians chiming in and boosting those numbers. But yeah, I think like you were talking about with this sweeten the pot button, brands jump in there. I saw you can even leave notes now. So we saw in one of the races here, somebody, I think it was the women's 10K, and they just threw $10 in and said, "Wahoo, let's go, ladies!" And you can say, "Hey, we want to support our athletes, and let's go New Balance or let's go Adidas, whatever it is." But make yourselves known out there.
I might have to make a couple phone calls.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's boost this thing. This only helps the athletes, and it helps fans too, because the more people that tune in and the more people that sweeten the pot, that just shows athletes come to this race. We get the matchups that we want to see and the head-to-head racing that we all crave. But
really, we should be talking to agents. You should be talking about agents and brands. Agents, if you're pretty confident in an athlete, you're getting a 15% return immediately on that money.
That's right. Let's go, agents. Let's start stumping here.
Dumping it in.
Yeah, this system's built for you. All right, let's take a look at this. This is one of the top events of the evening here, in my opinion. The Apparel for the Sport Women's 1500, a very intriguing race here. And I think what's being billed here and what we've been looking into is this race of the On Athletics Club versus the Union Athletics Club. Because you've got Sage Herda and Alicia Monson in there for the On Athletics Club, and then you've got Sinclair Johnson and Shannon Osika for the Union Athletics Club. And I've heard things thrown around like we're gonna see who has the lowest combined time. But personally, I'm old-fashioned and I'm a racing type, so I want to go lowest combined cross-country score, and then use that combined time as the tiebreaker. Before we kick it over to you, I also want to point out that we've got Gabriella Debuse Stafford in here as well, who cannot be overlooked. And the defending champ heading into this race is Katie Snowden, and she ran 4:02 here last year, and that was a big surprise winner. She beat Kate Grace in that race. But Will, give us your thoughts.
You kind of already stole my thunder, but this is not
I'm
the hottest
sorry.
take of the night. This is not the hottest take of the night.
I should kick
Gabriella
it over to you
Debussy-Stafford.
sooner.
Gabriella Debussy-Stafford is going to run away with this race. She's going to run away with it. She had one of the most insane indoor seasons on memory of any athlete. She steps on the track when she's ready. She's just made some big moves, moving out of the Bowerman Track Club. I think that she's coming out here to show that she can do it the way that she wants to do it. And this is going to be a big, big race for G. I'm very excited for this. This field is stacked of, the multi-athletics club that they definitely didn't take inspiration from someone else's name, or maybe they did. Who knows? Only time will tell. Only points will score. Can we start this race right now? This is probably the race I'm looking forward to most the entire night.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a big one, and I mean, I'm gonna be chomping at the bit to watch this one go off. There's so many storylines in here. I love to see Hannah Green on the line again for the OTC. Helen Schlachtenhaufen, she's opening up her season here, and then Rebecca Mehra as well. So a lot of great athletes in this race. And how do you predict this race is going to go, Will? Well, I guess you already told us that Gabriella Debussy-Stafford is going to take it.
Gabriella Debussy-Stafford is going to take this race. Where this race gets super interesting is this is strength 800-meter runners versus 1,500-meter runners. And we all know early season, sometimes people are a little hesitant to go with that rabbit. Maybe the pace isn't so hot. If this pace lags for a second, I love Sage Herta for my underdog pick here. 159, first time sub 2 at the Penn Relays this week. The 800-meter runners are going to be licking their chops. I remember early season vintage Nick Simmons ripping a flow track check out of my hands at the old Oxy Distance Carnival from Heat 2. Because Heat 1, we started to get a little complacent with the pace. So these 800-meter runners are no joke. They all have pretty good 1,500-meter credibility to the name, but I think Sage is in some pretty excellent form right now, and I'm very, very, very excited to see what happens if someone gets a little blasé on that third lap.
Oh man, you heard it here. Sage Herta. She could have a big one out there on Friday. But Will, I know you need to stretch your hamstrings, so let's move down to the men's 1,500 here to make sure you make your softball game.
I appreciate
the
that.
Men's 15, yeah, absolutely. We're looking out for you. The Athletic Brewing men's 1,500, and here's another one where there's a lineup of a single team just dumping athletes into this field. You got Gang Green, the OTC, Will Paulson, Vince Ciotti, and Jake Hayward there, and they're going up against Yared Nagoose. So you got Gang Green versus the Goose, Sam Prakel, Isaac Yorks of the Beast, Sam Tanner, now of Puma, and a few other great athletes in there. Marius Probst just jumped in there from Germany too. So let's hear your take, Will.
Insert OTC guy here. Mark Rowland is low-key one of the greatest middle distance coaches of all time. I don't just say that because he coached me for many years and he coached my wife. He's a dear friend. The results speak for themselves. He took these 3 young guys. It took a couple of years for them to get for that training to truly set in, but it's very, very, very much beginning to show. These guys are on fire right now. We got, who was it? Vince just won that national championship on the roads. That's a hard course in terrible weather. The time may have looked slow, but it just sharpens your racing sword. I mean, OTC is going to take this. All that I wish is that they would start to employ some like old school Kenyan tactics where they just go to the front and absolutely hammer. If they hammer, OTC is going to go 1, 2, 3. It's going to be just like a hard practice rep. They're going to run away with this race, and they're going to run fast. Now, I'd say my underdog pick has to be mini-me Nick Willis, Sam Tanner. The guy, I mean, can you speak more to me? Hair in a bun, from New Zealand. I love it all. It's just, he just won at Drake. So he's shown that he's ready to race again in the worst weather on planet Earth or planet Iowa of the weekend in Drake. And I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, I think I would love to see some team tactics from the OTC in this too. Maybe they make a deal behind the scenes and they say, "Hey, we're going to split the top paycheck and help each other out here. Use some cycling tactics." I'd like to see more of that in track. I think I mean Bowerman runs their pace train. If you get some team tactics going that you could help each other out here, I I got to go with Jake Hayward in this. I think. I mean the kid's dynamite. I can't remember his age off the top of my head now, but I know that he wasn't very. He's in his early 20s. Maybe he's 22 or 23. But yeah, making the Olympic final last year, talking to Ben Blankenship, he's never seen him breathe out of his mouth in a workout, and he just keeps the same expression the entire time throughout the race. So just positioning is all he needs to figure out, but maybe he works on that here. Who knows? What are we going to see? Are we going to see a 332?
332 is a tall order early in the season. I mean, I know these guys are fit. I know they're ready. But 332 is a time that you have to want to run, right? It's not just going to be given to you with a big kick at the end of the race. These guys got to make it happen. If anyone here who's a traditionalist on Tracklandia or Trackland remembers watching Evan Jagger go run that 332, he absolutely went for it. You have to full send Molly Seidel from the gun. You have to commit. And you'll know in the first 300 meters if that's what's going to happen, or if it's going to be a long push from 600 to 800 out. We'll see. But I still think get Gang Green up front, work some train tactics, hammer, hammer, hammer. It's going to be a great race.
And the Goose has got a choice to make too, because if he wants to take that NCAA record back that was just set 333, then he's going to have to push that third lap hard. And I feel like that's a decision there that he knows if he does that, he might be sacrificing the win. So some thoughts that he's going to have to work through.
Until last year's Olympic trials, I was going to say that, Yared Nuguse was not a guy that I typically pegged for a kicker. He was a guy who loved to hammer from far out. He proved me wrong in Eugene, and I loved that. So I'd love to see Yared just focus on just sitting in. He doesn't need to run the NCAA record tomorrow. There's going to be some more opportunities that are going to come his way. But if these guys, if the green train's rolling up front, Yared's going to be hitching his wagon right to the back of that.
All right. Well, yeah, let's see which one of Gang Green can come out on top here, if somebody can knock them off their pedestal. But let's move to the cream of the crop, the coup de grace of the evening, the men's 5,000 meters. That's what most people are excited about. The OAC men's 5,000.
We're not ready. We're not ready.
We're not ready for what?
Ready for this We're not ready for this
We're
race.
not worthy.
We're scum.
Yeah.
We suck.
So people are already sweetening the pot here, and they're remaining anonymous at the moment because they just want to see a good race because they're good people out there. But maybe
how many Ingebrigtsen siblings are there?
How many what?
How many anonymous Ingebrigtsen siblings are on here?
That's a good question. Yeah. I mean, I say, yeah, maybe. Well, we'll check on the back end. We probably got Heinrich and Philip just dumping cash into this race. So we've got Jakob, the defending 1,500 meter champ, 12:48 man. So he's got the best time in this race by at least 13 seconds, I believe, 13, 14 seconds. But a lot of great storylines behind him here. Jakob's got 14 votes right now, and I'm sure those will keep going up. But people are talking about Josh Kerr jumping into this 1,500 meter man, moving up to the 5K. I like David Ribich a lot, seeing what he did last year at Portland Track Festival against Lopez Lemong. And then you've got the 10 men in there as well, Drew Hunter and Sam Parsons. So they're mixing it up with the beast. But before I say anything else, Will, let's get your assessment.
I mean, did I speak too soon saying that I was most excited to watch the women's race? My excitement clouded my vision of what was to come. This race is going to be insane. It's absolutely going to be insane. Which Jakob is going to show up, the tactician or the guy who enforces his will and ultimate pain on all of his competitors? I mean, this guy, he can run from the front. He can run from the back. He can run from the side. We might even see you do a couple dances mid-lap. He is just an absolute incredible talent. The Olympic champion. Let me go back to my favorite. We're talking bets here. The favorite, it's Jakob Ingebrigtsen. That's the favorite in this race. Unless lightning strikes in the middle, Jakob's going to win this race. I think one of the most exciting things is what happens behind him. What do the other people in this race learn from being able to race, getting the opportunity to race with such an extreme talent? We got CPT coming off that Boston 5K win. He's clearly trying to run hard and run fast. He can close hard, not quite as hard as Jakob. He'll be there because also this is a great opportunity for all these guys to cement that world championship standard. I cannot wait, can't say that enough times for Abdi Nur. Little man Abdi from NAU.
Yes.
He was a man amongst boys at the NCAAs. I mean, how many laps did that guy run on the indoor track that day? It was in the hundreds. It had to be. And still, he comes out on top. It was vintage Mo Farah tactics. I'm looking forward to just watching him be able to turn off and say, look, there's no expectation for me to win this race. I just get to go out and try and beat the Olympic champion. That's what happens to the Olympic champion. You got a target on your back.
I think it's the perfect setup for him too, because you look at in the collegiate season, guys are much fitter right now and much sharper than the pros. So if you want to take a shot at the champ and you're Nur going into this race, you're not going to get a better time than this. So could you imagine what would happen though if anybody in this race won except for Ingebrigtsen? We'd all lose our minds. Like what?
We would lose our minds.
What would be going on?
I think that we're all going to lose our minds anyways. You know, we are going to watch on our home soil for the first time, early season, absolute greatness on the track. I mean, we haven't even mentioned really Josh Kerr's name. He wouldn't be on the start line if he didn't have his sights set on winning. And I think that it's a powerful position to be in. It's a powerful position to be in. And this is a guy, again, who he loves to enforce his will upon other people. He's got to wait a little bit longer in the 5K than the 1500, but very excited to see. I mean, again, these early season, these strength-based 1500 guys, I say strength-based, although Kerr's run, 144. So he's quite quick around the 2-lapper as well. I like the fact that there are teammates in this race. I always found that as a competitor, having a teammate made it easier because you could just sort of pretend like it was practice. It's always more fun to go warm up with a teammate, and running behind or in front or beside that teammate of yours, you know that you're in good company. So I think Kerr and Ribic will definitely be working together in this. I just hope that there's no breaks early on, or that there's a fall. I mean, the field is so stacked at that top end that it can start to get a little crowded. But we'll see how it plays out. Again, the Tin Mob's going to be there. Drew and Sam, those guys love to hammer. They showed themselves to have some pretty good form in the indoor season. You know, they live just down the road. I haven't heard of any injuries circling around their camps. You know, if everyone's happy and healthy and running well, this is going to be an absolutely insane race. Are we going to see sub 13? Again, that's a time that you have to want to run. I think for some of these guys, for the Jakobs of the world, they're coming out here to get that first crack at a good race of the season, getting ready for some of the things like pre coming down the chain. But low 13 minutes, 13:0. I mean, if there was an over under there, I'd take that over any day. Well, how do I do this? Over or under? I take under 13:10.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like I'm with you too. And even if we don't see a 13 flat, I feel like people are very fixated on times and records at this point in our track and field culture. But I'm super interested to see how the end of this race, the final mile, plays out, because you have such a big group of guys in there, and who's gonna be there at the end, and then who's gonna take it in their hands and push the pace and make that race too. So seeing those final closing splits are going to be extremely interesting for me.
You know, I think I gotta love to see if Drew Hunter, if we're getting good Drew out there, good Drew on a why not me type of day. If the pace starts to lag with a mile out, I'd love to see him in that speed suit and that beautiful mustache start hammering at the front. That would just be absolutely awesome.
Who wouldn't? You'd have 1,000 screaming high school boys in the stands, and you will anyway. So I'll be right with them. I'll be on around all of them.
Safely distance, socially distance, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, yeah, Will, this has been a pleasure having you on here, and I want to make sure that we get you off in a as timely manner as we possibly can. But any other thoughts before we let you go here?
My only thought is, if you haven't yet spent the $6, don't buy your cappuccino tomorrow. Put that money towards a track meet. Put your money where your mouth is. We get so infrequent opportunities as a fan of a sport to directly influence and support the people that we enjoy watching. So I'm going to be putting some money in there. I'm going to talk to a couple of friends up high, the mucky mucks, and see if we can sweeten the pot a little bit for some races. But across the board, this is going to be an absolutely incredible meet, start to finish.
Thank you very much for that endorsement there. And yeah, these are some great insights here. Definitely gave me some things to think about before we jump on the mic on Friday night. But it's been a pleasure, Will. I wish you the best of luck in your softball game, and let's get you back on here again soon. This was great.
Hitting dingers, baby. Dingers only remixes.
Let's go shin splints.
Those shin splits.